This video, I want to talk about how you can learn web development. The first thing is that if you want to learn anything, you should get a big picture on what is it that it has to offer to you, because you don't know what is it that you don't know what you don't know, basically. So if you want to start in a web development industry, you need to know what it has to offer to you and how it works. So you can go on Google and search, for example, web development and how it works. If already getting, learning everything straight away, but just to know what is it that it has, what it has there. For example, you may know that in web development there is HTML, CSS, and that's for the basic layout of the page. That's the fundamental part of being a web developer. HTML and CSS is the basics of every website, of every knowledge that a developer must have. It's a must, and you need to have a solid foundation about it. But knowing just HTML and CSS is not enough in today's world. You need to know, for example, command line in the computer. You need to know how to navigate it. There is something like GitHub, there is like JavaScript for adding the interaction to the website. For example, with HTML and CSS, you create a layout. You just make the building blocks of a home and you place, for example, a banner here, then you want some newsletter here, you want a blog post here, login here, and you want to have a specific structure the way you want. Maybe this is going to be 50% of the screen, and this is going to be 50% of the screen. And what you do with HTML, you just make a markup for your website. With CSS, you then style it. And however you style it with CSS is going to look how it's going to look at the end on how you want it to look. Then you add JavaScript for interaction. So what happens if you click this image with a gallery upper? Will you be able to click a next button for the image to slide? What about working with others? You have, something like JIT, where you can work with others, which is going to help you tremendously, later or on, or even now, if you just create if you create, whatever that has to offer to you, like branches, so you can check out how things look. Then you want to have a broad knowledge on what it has to offer. If you want to do a Facebook-like site, I don't mean a Facebook site, but a Facebook-like site, which means that the site is going to have similar features, such as login, a user page. The user is going to be able to post his, feeds or whatever it is. And that's, for example, PHP, Ruby on Rails, and so on. But that role is a back end. A front end is someone that writes HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. In addition to the front end with CSS, you have something like preprocessor Sass that just make your life a lot easier. But these things are like the fundamentals you should know. If you're just starting out, you should know how the big picture works. So how it works is that write HTML and CSS. You can use a preprocessor like Sass or Less to speed your workflow, and it's going to be easier to maintain. And then once you're done with HTML and CSS, you want to add some interactivity. We are still in the front end, and we are not finished with the starting out. So now we are in the JavaScript, and what you want to do with JavaScript is that you want to add interaction to the website that you've just created, the visual effect. Now you want to if you have a gallery, make it nice with JavaScript. Have that gallery to have some effect. What about some cool hover that you can make with CSS and so on? After that is done, you have a static website. Now, if you want to make the website dynamic, such as the website is going to have some logic to have some blog post or just to log in, log out. That's now we are going to passing that to a backend developer, which is going to do probably in PHP, which he's going to do probably in PHP or Ruby on Rails, which is going to allow other people to use the site dynamically. And what's going to happen then is that the login is going to work. He is going to make the database. He's going to make the form work. So when you click, it's going to send. And that's the really basic overview on the web development. Now that you know how the web development works to a degree, now we want to set yourself objectives. So you should learn HTML and CSS as the first thing you want to do. You want to start off with these two. So now you have a scope. Now you know somewhat how that works. Now you need to focus on objective to learn HTML and CSS. Now that you are going to progress, you know that, for example, when doing a form, you know what is the name tag, or when is it that you are going to put the ID tag. You know how the labels are going to work, for example, as well as if you have something automated with PHP or Ruby on Rails, you know how you should do things with PHP, with HTML or CSS. Same with JavaScript. If you want to make a carousel, you need to have a little bit of extra CSS knowledge, because if you want to make a carousel, you want to probably display the image one after each other. So you want to probably maybe inline block them if you can, because if you put an image, the image are going to stack up, vertically. So what you want to do is you want to put the image in line with each other, if that's with float or inline block or whatever technique is that you are going to do, because then what you are going to want to do is to show just one picture, and the other pictures you're not going to see. So this is the picture that we want, and that's the picture that is not going to be able to be seen by us. What with JavaScript you are going to be able to make that picture, for example, every 3 seconds to move in the viewpoint. So that picture is going to move now, and you are going to be able to see. So if you have the basic knowledge of how JavaScript maybe works, or that there is something like JavaScript, now you can think on how is it that you can make a carousel, and how is it that it should look in the HTML and CSS when you are going to hand it to a JavaScript developer. And then there is a backend developer. What you want to do is you want to find out as much as you can when you're new to it. You want to find out everything that there is to offer. I don't mean that you are going to learn everything, but at least you know how it works, what it has to offer, such as virtual servers, such as MAMP, VirtualBox, and so on, to work with PHP, for example. Because PHP is a server-side language, which means it's going to work only with a server, which is online. But you can install, your own small server, such as MAMP, where you can post when you can work with your backend without uploading the site every time. I hope, and also in technology in general, if you're looking at mobile development, where you have Objective-C, Swift, you got Android, and so on. You want to do exactly the same. You want to get a big picture. You want to know what is Objective-C and what is Swift. Does that work for Android or is that only for Apple products, for OS? So you need to know that. So you need to have a scope because if you want to develop mobile apps for Android, then you are going to need to learn Java. If you want to make a mobile apps for Apple products, then you are going to probably, you are going to need Swift. So if you are going to learn Swift, what you want to do for Android, then you are going to get disappointed and you may switch again. So it's a good idea to get a broad view on how everything works at first, and then you can tackle it with small